Hi, welcome to another episode of Alan the Defender, and today we're going to have a look at mud flaps. Not perhaps the most exciting and interesting part of the conversion so far, but it's a well-known problem with Defenders of the mud flaps coming apart. When I say coming apart, I mean detaching themselves from the bodywork. It's a strange setup on the Defender that, particularly on the rear mud flaps, they're attached to the chassis by a bracket, but on the outer side they're just attached straight onto the bodywork itself, which is actually quite thin, and over time it work hardens and one central bolt becomes a crack, and then the whole part comes away from the actual bodywork itself. I'm going to show you that in a moment, what's happened to mine, particularly on one side, and how we're going to solve it. So if you can imagine the back around the wheel arch area, the Land Rover comes down the bodywork, and then it has a lip, and this is where the mudguard attaches. So all Land Rover's done in their wisdom is put a bolt in through here, and then the mudguard attaches underneath, or the bracket of the mudguard attaches underneath. And of course all that happens is that this part here over time just vibrates, and then eventually it will fracture. And if I can show you here now, this is exactly what's happened to mine. So that is actually, you can see the colour, that's the colour of Alan. You can actually see that it's just fractured all the way around the hole, and you can see how the hole is elongated over time just through vibration and bits and pieces hitting the back mudguard. And it's taken the whole part of this away. So if I just draw it again, this part here is actually this bit here. Luckily, you can't see it because it's fractured with just enough lip that you can't actually see it, especially from above. And what I did when this happened, because I wanted to get the mudguard back on, so it was just hanging on. There's a bracket that comes across if the mudguard's down here. There's a bracket that comes across to the chassis being here. This was just hanging off here, so I didn't want this to fracture, obviously, so I just needed to get it back on as quick as possible. So what I did was I had some aluminium lying around in the workshop, and I've just cut a couple of these, drilled them out, and I've laid them along either side. So looking from the top, they're just sitting, if you can imagine, this is the part I just showed, and this is the extension part, so on either side, and I've put the bolt through, and it's just resting on the fracture. The fracture is obviously right round here, across it. Not ideal, because over time the same thing's going to happen, although there isn't actually any bodywork there to come off now. But there is another way of doing this, and that's to buy what they call a reinforcement kit from Naka, I can never say this, Nakatanganenga. Here it is here. So this is the reinforcement kit. Now, you could make this up yourself. It's basically just some channel that has been formed. Let me just get this open. So let me just move that out of the way. So this is some channel just bent over. And as you can see, this will actually fit inside and across the bodywork itself. And then you drill out here and here, couple of bolts, and this is where the mudguard will fit. So it makes it a lot stronger. What they do give you as well is some anti-corrosive paste. I'm not sure how good that would be. I tend to use ACF 50 for most of the corrosion prevention, and it works really well. But they also give you, I'll just try and find them in the packet here, these small plastic, what would you call them, shims, that obviously sit inside, and gives you slightly more protection against dissimilar material. But anyway, I think it's a nice solid way of doing it. I said you could easily make these up yourself with a bit of channel, but I think this was an easy way to do it. It's probably not the cheapest way to do it, I have to say. This kit's not cheap for what you really get. So they're the plastic shims. Everything else is stainless steel, and that's basically it. So what we'll do is we'll move outside, and we'll have a go putting this on the side that I've actually done the repair on. Strangely, on Alan, it appears on the left-hand side that this has already been done. Whether they had a similar thing happen and they've just made a repair, it's quite hard to see without actually raising the vehicle up. But there's definitely these two holes in the left-hand side. So it looks like there's already, and I can feel from the underside that there's already a reinforcement bracket. First thing I'll need to do, of course, is give it a good wash, get rid of the mud, and then take off this other repair that I did myself. So let's go outside and have a look at fitting this bracket. So here we are outside the back of Alan, and as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, this is the bracket that attaches to the chassis, and then just in here is where it attached to the bodywork. As you can see, it's just this L-shaped part of the rear quarter. Plenty of mud coming off there. I haven't washed it yet. I'm just going to give that a clean up before I undo this nut. This has got my repair inside it, but when this goes, all it's attached to is this, and this bracket will fail quite easily. So I made that quick repair just so that it wasn't hanging off. I think mine actually got taken out by a large amount of snow actually clinging to the back of the mudguard, and that was the final straw that broke the camel's back. Let me get this cleaned up, and then we'll take it off and add the new Tenganega bracket. One day I'll get it right. So the first thing we need to do is take this bolt out, which is an 8mm bolt. It just means feeling around the back for the nut, which should be easy to locate, not so easy to film and locate. Let me just see. I think it's an 8mm head on that. I can't remember if it's an 8mm nut as well. Double check. Yep, so the nut's a 10mm and then an 8mm head. So we'll just take this off and you'll be able to see the repair I made. You can see why these corrode so badly, and it's a really terrible design, just to have it attached to this very thin piece of aluminium. But it's not the only thing on Land Rovers which is a terrible design. So I wish I'd probably done this sooner, although I didn't realise that mine was about to fracture. Just get this off. It's quite awkward when you can't see what you're doing. But, and the weight of this bracket will start to come down in a moment, but you just want to make sure that we don't do any more damage to the other side where it's attached to the chassis. Okay, so that's the nut off, captive nut, and the bolt out. And I should probably find my piece of aluminium in here. As you can see, that's all it was there. So the bracket that we bought is going to be much more substantial with that. It will involve drilling either side. I'll give you a view of the way it's fractured. So this is the bracket itself, as you can see, just with this upper lip, and it just simply slides on. I'll just need to align it with the hole. I'm just trying to keep my head out of the way of the camera, but that's it actually on. These plastic shims, I'm guessing, just sit either side in here and on the reverse side, although that might be quite difficult to fit, but we'll see. And then I just need to drill 2 holes either side, which I'll just mark in a moment, and I'll come back to you and show what we're doing. And some of that anti-corrosive paste, I'll probably apply that as well, just to back it up. But I'm going to give this a good spray with ACF 50. This is great stuff, really developed for the kind of aircraft industry, and I use it on all the parts, particularly around the pop top roof that was put on, even where there's bits of stainless steel and chrome. This is really good. Even the bolts that fit the Momo steering wheel, which have a tendency to rust, I've coated them and wiped them down with this, and it's not rusted again. So really great stuff. Get back to you in a sec once I've marked this up and see if I can fit these plastic shims. So there are no instructions at all, although it looks fairly straightforward. As I gathered, those plastic shims are going to be quite hard to fit because it's a really tight fit over the edge of the bodywork. I'll just see what these bolts are. So they're what, 5mm. So a 5mm hole should do. So there's no measurements given at all with the kit, but it is straightforward. Just going to think of a way of fitting those plastic shims. I'm not sure how good they'll actually be. I think with enough ACF 50 and corrosive paste, anti-corrosive paste around it, it would be better than the plastic shims. I may be missing something about the use of those, but they can only sit sandwiched between the two, but trying to get them on as you push this across is going to be quite difficult. And I've had a go, but I think it's probably too difficult, and it's not really going to solve anything because the moisture and everything else, although the dissimilar metals won't be touching, I'm not sure really. But let's have another look. I'm going to drill these holes. So I've just marked them up here, and I'm just going to drill those. Probably put a bit of touch-up paint on them, around them, just to seal them up, and then we'll bolt the bracket in. I'll bring you back. So I'm just going to mark these up, give them a quick tap with a centre punch. Brackets put way in, and it's pretty central. There's a lot more mud, but that's kind of inevitable. Maybe I should have jet washed it first. Yeah, really didn't see that happening. But, I'll clear that up, and then we'll drill the holes. There's a couple of burrs on the inside. I've got some tools. I'll just take those burrs off, put the touch-up kit on and around it, and we'll then bolt it on. And it's as simple as that. Just use this deburring tool up the inside. Quite hard for me to film, but just to take the burrs off the inside, so that's all nice and smooth in there now. Still mud coming out. It's amazing how much mud is in this. But yeah, I'll clean up again, and then the ACS 50 will go on. So I've fitted the bracket. I managed to get one of the plastic shims inside, which is probably a more important place to have it. And I've just put the bolts in. There's a couple of washers that go up inside, and then these nylocks to go on the inside. So I'll just pop those on now, and then we can reattach the mudguard. So it's just a case of putting the mudguard on now, I suppose. So a large washer behind there. I'm quite sure it just sticks out a little bit more than it did, but I've probably bent the bracket a fair bit when it came off. And so there's no instructions with this, but I can't see any other way that it would go on. It just makes absolute sense around this way. So I'm sure if anyone else has fitted these, they can tell me where I've probably gone wrong. So just a case of tightening this up now. And it's fairly substantial. I must say, compared to what was there before, and you can see how much strength this gives the bodywork just here. So I'll just kind of grab the correct socket and tighten this up. There we go. That's it reattached, and I say a lot stronger than it was before. Not quite sure about this way it sticks out slightly. I suppose you've got the extra depth of the bracket, but I can't see any other way which it would have gone on. So that's it. That's the Nakan. I'm going to do it again. Nakan Tenenga reinforcement bracket for the mudguard. So I don't need to do the other side because it looks like it's already been done. I don't think with the same kit, but with something very similar. And hopefully that will prevent any more fractures of the bodywork here. Many thanks for watching the video. If you like what I've done and it's been of any use to you, please put some comments down below, and like and subscribe. Keeps me motivated to make some more. I've got some more bits and pieces to go on Alan, and we'll gradually build up the series of videos as we go. Many thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.